What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today we've got our Week 7 NFL game picks outright versus the spread along with our locks of the week. But not only that, earlier this week we also launched our official all-day Pigskin website. Check out the info into the description. But if you guys have enjoyed these videos, go ahead, show your support online on the website as well. We've got our weekly fantasy advice, but also for all of you that have wanted an earlier view into these NFL game breakdowns, we offer that as well. Go ahead, join the free newsletter, get those kind of perks and more. But for now, let's go ahead and get right into it. Kicking things off, we have got a divisional clash on Thursday Night Football between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Denver Broncos. The Chiefs, 4-2 losers of 2 straight last week versus the Texans, where the defense just couldn't stop Deshaun Watson, while the Denver Broncos, they're 2-4, but guess what? They're winners of 2 straight and now a home game here, which might be a little bit of a reason why this spread only plus 3.5 for the Broncos. Look, don't get me wrong. It's been nice what they've done on a little bit of a win streak, and the Chiefs kind of struggling these past 2 weeks, but this spread should be higher. Chiefs are on the road. It's a divisional clash, but this offense for the Chiefs is on another level than that of the Broncos. Patrick Mahomes with Tyreek Hill, with Travis Kelce, even with that rushing attack struggling and that offensive line being an issue and Mahomes not being 100%, even with all those factors, this offense is still better than the Denver Broncos. This spread shouldn't be this low. I don't care if Sammy Watkins isn't playing. He hasn't really done anything since week 1 where he absolutely exploded for the Chiefs. I do think with this being a divisional clash, we're going to see the defenses, especially that of the Kansas City Chiefs, have a little bit of a better performance. And we know that the Denver Broncos offense with Joe Flacco under center can be hot and cold. And I wouldn't be surprised if this game is one of those where they're a little bit cold. I absolutely love the Chiefs on the spread here. I would be taking the over all day long here. I think the Chiefs not only go ahead and get back to their winning ways here, but I think they win by at least a touchdown. Like I said before, I think this spread is a little bit skewed just because of the last 2 weeks from the Chiefs and the Broncos. The Chiefs losing those 2 straight, the Broncos winning those 2 straight. I think that's influenced bettors a little bit incorrectly. So not only do I like the Chiefs outright, but also on the spread, very confident there. Next, we've got the LA Rams at the Atlanta Falcons. The Rams 3-3 after losing yet again last week, this time to the 49ers, where no Todd Gurley, Jared Goff looked awful, and the offense couldn't get anything going. While the Atlanta Falcons, they're 1-5, losing yet again, this time to the Cardinals, where they had a comeback effort, but that comes up short with the missed PAT by Matt Bryant, and the defense continues to struggle. Now, right now, both these teams trending in the wrong direction. But the big news for the Rams, they trade away Marcus Peters earlier this week, but more importantly, they get Jalen Ramsey in a trade. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if all those back issues that Ramsey was complaining about these last few weeks in Jacksonville all of a sudden magically go away and he suits up for this contest. I think that could potentially be the X factor here because we know we're going to get great offensive performances from both these squads, pretty much because the Falcons defense can't stop anyone. And this is a perfect bounce back game for Jared Goff. Whether Todd Gurley plays or not, I think those rushers for the Rams will also have a good game right now. However, it is looking like he will more likely than not suit up for that game. So that's a nice boost for that Rams offense, even though he might be, that is Todd Gurley, on a little bit of a limited snap count. Again, regardless, this game will come down to defenses. And as we've seen, the Falcons, due to injuries and due to defensive ineptitudes, they just give up points left and right. I know that they play better at home, but that's more so offensively. I think this will be a high-scoring affair. But at the end of the day, I just have more faith in the Rams defense making more stops here. That's why I like them on the road to get back to their winning ways and come out victorious. However, I do think the Falcons will have a chance to win this game. I think it'll be high scoring, like I said before, but it'll be close throughout this contest heading into the fourth quarter. That's why in the spread, plus 3.5 for the Falcons. I'm actually going to go ahead and pick the Falcons there. I think this game will be decided by a field goal, so even though I like the Rams outright, I'm taking the Falcons on the spread. Next, we've got another divisional clash, this time Miami Dolphins at the Buffalo Bills, and let's be honest, this one should be quite simple because the Dolphins, 0-5, coming off yet another loss in what was probably their best chance of getting their first and maybe only victory of the season versus the Redskins. But note, they lose. They bench Josh Rosen, Ryan Fitzpatrick named the starter, or at least until he gets benched again. However, they face the Bills on the road, who are coming off a bye week, getting healthier. Devin Singletary set to return most likely, but that doesn't matter. Even if he's not there, Frank Gore will have a huge day. Josh Allen will have a huge day on the ground. Look for John Brown. Look for Cole Beasley to also have pretty successful outings. But it's going to be really this Bills defense that flexes its muscles, I believe, and going to force several turnovers, give the offense short fields, maybe even convert some of those turnovers into touchdowns. And I'm picking the Bills here outright without even a hesitation of a doubt. The spread, maybe you see that kind of scares you a little bit. Minus 16.5 for the Bills, definitely a big number. But the way I see it right now, the Dolphins are so bad defensively. They've got so many issues offensively. They don't have a quarterback. They just continue to switch back between Rosen and Fitzpatrick, and this Bills defense will eat them alive. I honestly don't see the Dolphins putting up more than 7 points. If that even, they'll be lucky to put up 7. And the Bills offense, I think they can put up between, 20 to 27 points. So what I'm trying to say is I'm taking the Bills on the spread as well. Outright on the spread, doubling down on this game. Bills all the way. Continuing on, we have got the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Cincinnati Bengals. The Jaguars 2-4 after losing to the Saints last week, where we kind of saw when you go ahead and match up Gardner Minshew versus a good defense, he'll tend to struggle like a young quarterback does. But guess what? Perfect bounce back game here versus the Bengals, who are 0-6. Couldn't get it done versus the Baltimore Ravens. The box score might suggest that it was close, but not really so. The Bengals were playing from behind all game long, and if it wasn't for that pretty much start of the game return for a touchdown on special teams, this game wouldn't have been all that close to begin with. And the big reason for that is because the Bengals' offensive line is so porous. Joe Mixon can't get anything going. Andy Dalton doesn't have time to go and find his wide receivers. And defensively, the Bengals can't stop anyone. So to me, that all culminates into Minshew Mania returning this week in a very favorable matchup. Leonard Fournette having a great day. DJ Shark probably having a pretty successful day. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, Jalen Ramsey no longer with the team. That's going to be a big deal. Well, I'd say not really, because he really hasn't played for the Jaguars these last 2 to 3 weeks. So how big of a deal is it really going to be at the end of the day? Not all that much. They've still got some big name secondary talent, and they've got talent on the front of that defensive line, which I think will get after Andy Dalton and force, some sacks, maybe a turnover or two. But at the end of the day, with this Bengals defense not being able to stop anybody, the Jaguars have the decided advantage offensively, also defensively. I'm taking the Jaguars on the road to go ahead and get back in the win column. I'm taking them outright. The spread only plus 3.5 for the Bengals. I think that's way too low, so I'll take the Jaguars there. I think they can win by at least a touchdown. Next, the divisional clashes continue, as this time we've got the Minnesota Vikings at the Detroit Lions. The Vikings 4-2, another nice victory, this time versus the Eagles, where Kirk Cousins continues to improve, but that has been versus some favorable defensive matchups. Now versus the Detroit Lions, who are 2-1, it's going to be tougher because the Lions, you can clearly see, are better than last year. They're improving, but they just continue to come up just short. They could very well be undefeated right now. Last week, such a tough loss versus the Green Bay Packers, where it was close. There were definitely some questionable penalty calls late in key moments, that the Lions have every right to be upset about. But unfortunately for them, this matchup doesn't get any easier because this Vikings defense is going to make it a long day for whomever it plays. And I think that'll be the case here because I think this game won't be all that high scoring. I think that the Vikings probably go to a formula that has worked for them in the past, which is run it with Dalvin Cook and continue to run it with Dalvin Cook and then play solid defense. I don't think they're going to want Kirk Cousins to, throw it for 30 attempts, something like that, 40 attempts. I think they're going to want to limit the ball in his hands here because this is such a meaningful game for both these teams. Realistically, both have a shot at this division and potentially a wild card moving forward. So whoever wins, it's a big deal. Right now, I would say that the Detroit Lions at quarterback have the better signal caller, but all around, I do like the squad for the Vikings more so. I think they have more pass catcher variety. I like their running back situation more so. But then the thing that really tips the scales for me here is the defense for the Vikings. That's why I give them the edge. That's why I think they can go on the road and get this victory. And who knows, maybe Kirk Cousins will continue to kind of build a mojo, even though I think that we're going to see him kind of come back down to earth here versus the Lions, who have also been good defensively. I look for a lower scoring game. I think both these teams will have a chance to win. But like I said, the defense is why I'm giving the edge to the Vikings. I'm taking them outright. The Lions -1.5 on the spread. So I'm going with the Vikings there as well. Next, we've got the Oakland Raiders at the Green Bay Packers. The Raiders coming off the bye week at 3-2, above 500. The last time we saw them, they beat the Bears. Now, they've got another NFC North opponent here in the Green Bay Packers who are 5-1, just beat the Detroit Lions. Hard-fought battle without Devontae Adams. Geronimo Allison gets hurt. MVS gets hurt. But again, Aaron Rodgers proved that as long as he's healthy and under center, he can go ahead and give you a chance to win no matter who the pass catchers are. Now, the Packers probably did get some help from the referees, but that's a story for another time. What matters right now is they've got a home game here. They'll probably be without Devontae Adams yet again, but we've seen that the rushing attack will pick up the slack in those situations, whether it's Jamal Williams or Aaron Jones. Both have proven that when the other is struggling or hurt, the other is more than capable of carrying the load. And I think Aaron Rodgers, without even his top weapons, will go ahead and find an Allen Lazard or someone else and make them a star for 1 week as we've seen before. But to me, it'll be that Packers defense that takes advantage of some opportunities and of the turnover-prone Derek Carr, who right now just doesn't have a healthy wide receiver to throw to. Tyrell Williams probably won't play in this game. That's a big loss for the Raiders. Right now, tough matchup for them versus this improved Packers defense, which I think will force at least a turnover or two, which all in all culminates to a Packers victory with that great home field advantage to me. I'm taking them outright on the spread, -6.5. I think when it's all said and done, the Packers win by at least a touchdown, so I'm going to go ahead and take them on the spread as well. Next, we've got the Houston Texans at the Indianapolis Colts. The Texans 4-2 after beating the Kansas City Chiefs last week. Probably their biggest win of the season is Deshaun Watson outdueled Patrick Mahomes, while the Indianapolis Colts 3-2 coming off the bye week. Now, in this divisional clash, it's honestly a contest that I really want to stay away from picking one way or the other. I could see the Colts winning this game. In fact, they're favored at -1.5. That doesn't shock me at all because the Texans, they tend to be very hot and cold from week to week, especially versus better defenses. We've seen them struggle against teams like the Carolina Panthers and then in favorable matchups put up a bunch of points. But with this divisional clash, with these two teams knowing each other so well, and with the Colts having a lot of good pieces, a strong nucleus surrounding Jacoby Brissett, they've pretty much been in every single game so far this season. And I think that'll be the case here again. I think this will be low scoring, and I think both teams will have a chance to win this contest. I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any account. In fact, if I had to pick an upset of the week, even though the spread suggests the Colts should be favored, I think it's right here. And I think a lot of people are probably saying the Texans, considering the spread, is the easy pick. And I will agree. I'm going to take the Texans on the spread, but that's more so to hedge my bets because I like the Colts at home outright to win this game. I see the Texans offense kind of struggling here. I think the Colts offense is going to play smart football, turnover-free football, rely on Marlon Mack as they have done all season long, and then defensively kind of limit the big plays. So I think all in all, this is, like I said, going to be a close game, lower scoring, and to me, that's advantageous for the Indianapolis Colts. So I'll take them at home outright, but the Texans hedging our bets at that -1.5, which is pretty much a pick 'em. But since this game is a coin flip, could go either way, I'm taking the Texans on the spread. Moving on, we've got the Arizona Cardinals at the New York Giants. The Cardinals 2-3-1, getting another victory, this time versus the Atlanta Falcons, where they erupted offensively, while the New York Giants 2-4 after getting dominated versus the New England Patriots last week on Thursday Night Football. But guess what? Good news for the Giants because right now, at least, tentatively, they're expecting a lot of big names back. Guys like a Saquon Barkley potentially, Evan Ingram, maybe even Sterling Shepard, which is obviously going to do wonders for Daniel Jones in that offense. The question is, what will this Giants defense be able to do versus an Arizona Cardinals offense that has been coming more to life these last few weeks? Again, favorable matchups, but Kyler Murray will only improve as the season goes along, and we've seen it from him. And I think he's going to have another good outing here versus the New York Giants. And honestly, I like the Arizona Cardinals to go ahead and win this matchup. They've been successful versus plus matchups when the defenses on the other side of the football are ones that give up a lot of points. I think that Kyler Murray presents a lot of matchup issues with his legs, and I think this is going to be a very high-scoring affair, whoever you are supporting in this contest. Right now, the main reason why I give the Arizona Cardinals the edge is because I have more faith in Kyler Murray than I do Daniel Jones. True that, this Giants offense, probably by getting Saquon Barkley back, they're going to have the biggest and most dominant offensive playmaker on their side of the football. But I think it's going to take more than just Saquon Barkley to win this game. I'm taking Kyler Murray and the Cardinals to go ahead and win this road matchup. I think that defense of the Arizona Cardinals has got, one or two more playmakers than that of the New York Giants. We'll see. It's not going to be a defensive slugfest no matter what happens here. I think this could potentially be the highest scoring game of the week. I like the Cardinals on the road outright. The Giants -2.5 point favorites. So due to that, I'm going with the Cardinals on the spread as well. Next, we've got the San Francisco 49ers at the Washington Redskins. And again, this one should be simple. Go ahead, lock in the 49ers. Not much has to be said. 49ers 5-0 after beating the LA Rams, while the Washington Redskins 1-5. Hey, they got their first win of the season by beating the Miami Dolphins, but don't look for them to make it too straight, as even though this is a home game for them, and even though Case Keenum, the best quarterback out of the bunch, is back under center, this is a horrible matchup in every single way for the Redskins. This 49ers defense has been one of the best in the NFL, and I look for them to make it a long day for this Redskins team. I think a big reason why the Redskins had a lot of success is because they were able to get the rushing attack going last week. That's not going to be the case versus this 49ers front, and I think Case Keenum is going to have to throw it a bunch due to that. And the 49ers have also got playmakers in the secondary, so I think we're going to see multiple turnovers from the Washington Redskins. And speaking of the Redskins, well, defensively, they have got issues as well, which means the 49ers, I think, will go ahead and have a big day on the ground specifically. That's been their forte all season long. Whether it's Breida, whether it's Coleman, doesn't matter. Both those guys should have plenty of opportunities. Look for Jimmy Garoppolo to probably get a passing touchdown or two. I think you're going to see a very balanced day from this 49ers offense, and that's going to be why I like them to win this game outright. Don't overthink it. 49ers on the road, one of the locks of the week on the spread, plus 9.5 for the Redskins. I think the spread could be even higher, so I'm taking the 49ers on the spread as well. Next, we have got the LA Chargers at the Tennessee Titans. Both these teams 2-4. The Chargers just lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers, where they struggled mightily offensively, couldn't really get anything going until the latter parts of that game, while the Tennessee Titans got absolutely spanked by the Denver Broncos. So much so that they benched Marcus Mariota and now are expected to start Ryan Tannehill. And that reason alone is why I'm taking the LA Chargers in this game. Look, I know the Chargers have struggled a bunch pretty much since the return of Melvin Gordon, but I don't think he's to blame for that. It's more so the offensive line and the fact that they've really struggled blocking. And Phillip Rivers has struggled as well. Keenan Allen has had a couple of down weeks. So I do think this is a good chance to get right for the Chargers. Now, the Tennessee Titans defense will keep them in this game. I think this game will be lower scoring due to that, but by no means do I think the Titans should be favored here, which actually is the case. They're at minus 2.5. And again, that's probably because of the recent offensive struggles by the Chargers and the fact that the Tennessee Titans defense is one that can go ahead and cause them issues. But at the end of the day, I think Ryan Tannehill right now just has absolutely zero chemistry with this offense that was already struggling to begin with, which is really going to put them behind the 8 ball. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Chargers. I think they bounce back offensively. I look for Keenan Allen to have a big day. Hunter Henry returned last week, was absolutely sensational. I don't think we're going to see that from him every week, obviously. I believe the Chargers want to reestablish the rushing attack, whether it's with Austin Eckler or Melvin Gordon, and then get those big plays from their pass catchers. So again, I think they get back to their winning ways here. I'm taking them outright. Since the Titans are favored on the spread, I'm going Chargers there as well. Moving on, we have got the New Orleans Saints at the Chicago Bears. The Saints, 5-1, just took care of business versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Teddy Bridgewater continues to get victories for the New Orleans Saints. In fact, he's undefeated since he became the starter with that Drew Brees injury. While the Chicago Bears, 3-2, coming off the bye week, this is a tough contest for them. I think we're going to see a similar matchup here to what the Saints faced last week in the Jacksonville Jaguars. But obviously, the Chicago Bears defense is on another level. And to me, that's the only hope the Bears have here. Because offensively, they're going to struggle no matter what. Because they just placed Kyle Long on IR. That's a huge loss for that already struggling offensive line. And whether Trubisky plays or doesn't, it's not going to make that big of a difference. Because he's been the weakest link for that entire team since the season began. They don't have a true quarterback, and whoever they put out there is going to struggle versus the Saints defense, which has had some success as of late. So I look for the Saints team to actually go on the road, challenge the Bears, and potentially get a victory, because I think that the Saints, with the playmakers they have, can go ahead and limit the amount of turnovers. Whereas the Chicago Bears, they're going to need to rely on the arm of whether it's Chase Daniel or Mitchell Trubisky. And I think that's going to lead to several turnovers here. But either way, this is going to be a low-scoring game. I think probably in the realms of 13-10, 17-13, something like that. But at the end of the day, I think the Saints have more playmakers. It'll be really interesting. If Alvin Kamara suits up, he has kind of been up in the air since the start of the week, which could be a big influence in this game. If he doesn't play, I could kind of see the Bears actually winning this matchup. So based on that, I would go ahead and hold placing your bets too early on this game. But as of right now, treating it like he will play, I'm going to go ahead and take the Saints outright on the spread. The Bears minus 3.5. That's too large of a spread. Even if the Bears win, they're not going to win by more than a field goal. So I'm taking the Saints comfortably on the spread. Continuing on, we've got the Battle of the Birds, the Baltimore Ravens at the Seattle Seahawks. The Ravens 4-2 after beating the Cincinnati Bengals last week. And even though they got the victory, it wasn't all that decisive. And this Ravens defense as of late has kind of struggled, while the Seattle Seahawks 5-1 come back from behind victory versus the Cleveland Browns. Russell Wilson looked sensational yet again. Chris Carson continues to dominate. And now back at home, the Seahawks should have the advantage here. I think as long as Russell Wilson continues to play at this level, the Seahawks are going to have a chance in every single game, no matter who they play. Russell Wilson is absolutely on another level. His escapability, his ability to extend plays, and his just clutchness are amazing, and probably why he is the front runner for the league MVP at this point in time. And even though both these offenses have the ability to explode, I'm going to go ahead and trust the offense that has the better quarterback. And right now, that is absolutely, without a doubt, Russell Wilson. Lamar Jackson, we've seen when he faces decent defenses, he has to rely on his running abilities more than anything. And even though, the Seahawks defense isn't elite at home, they can go ahead and cause trouble for opposing offenses. And I think we're going to see Lamar Jackson struggle a little bit. Marquise Brown might not play in this contest, which, if that's the case, that's a big loss for, an offense that already has limitations at the pass catching level. The Ravens defense, we've seen them get exposed, like we said. So I don't think the Seattle Seahawks are going to struggle all that much offensively. I like the Seahawks at home to go ahead and win this game behind another MVP type of performance from Russell Wilson. The spread -3.5 in favor of the Seattle Seahawks. I'm going to go ahead and take the Seattle Seahawks to at least win it by a touchdown. So I'm taking them on the spread as well. Getting to Sunday Night Football, we have got a classic divisional contest between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. Both these teams 3-3, and this is a huge game for both these squads because right now, one of these two teams is winning the NFC East. It's only a question of which one because it sure as hell not going to be the Giants or the Redskins. And at this point in time, I got to give the edge to the Philadelphia Eagles, even though they're coming off a loss versus the Minnesota Vikings, where, I thought it would be closer than it was. But ultimately, that Minnesota Vikings defense had a nice day. And even though that was a disappointing loss, well, the loss of the Dallas Cowboys versus the winless New York Jets, even though Sam Darnold returned, was absolutely god-awful. And now, more than likely, they'll be without Amari Cooper in this contest. That's a big loss for them. They might get Tyron Smith back on the offensive line. That's going to be a big help. But at the end of the day, I'm looking at Carson Wentz. I'm looking at Dak Prescott. Give me Carson Wentz every single day. Now, we're probably going to see a bounce-back performance from Dak Prescott because he's going to face this Philadelphia secondary. But this Dallas Cowboys defense, as of late, has kind of disappointed as well. So I think Carson Wentz will have his opportunities. It'll be interesting to see whether Deshaun Jackson plays. He's reportedly getting close to a return. When that happens, no doubt this offense will improve. But right now, I'm going with a team that I believe ultimately wins the division, with a team that I think has the better quarterback. Right now, that's the Philadelphia Eagles and Carson Wentz. That front four, that front seven for the Eagles will also have its hands full versus Ezekiel Elliott, but they've been astounding so far this season versus the rush. So it'll really be an intriguing matchup here. The strength of one team versus the strength of the other. I like the Eagles, however, on the road to win this contest. It should be close. Both these teams should have a chance to win. I don't think there will be a blowout one way or the other, but give me the Eagles, the spread -2.5 for the Cowboys. They're favored. Since I like the Eagles outright, I'm taking them on the spread as well. Finally, getting to Monday Night Football, we've got the New England Patriots at the New York Jets. Final divisional clash of the week. The Patriots 6-0 after taking care of business versus the Giants. The defense really flexed its muscles, while the New York Jets 1-4. Congratulations, first victory of the season in Sam Darnold's return. But I think that fairy tale ending concludes here because the Jets, even though they're at home, will not beat the New England Patriots. I realize this offense of the Jets is a lot better when Sam Darnold is under center, but this New England Patriots defense is one of the best in the NFL. and they're going to make it a long day for Sam Darnold. I think the Patriots offense will have success as well. Tom Brady knows these divisional opponents inside and out, and so does Bill Belichick for the matter. So the Patriots should win this game. Don't overthink it. Should be one of the locks of the week. I'm taking the Patriots outright. I think this Jets offense will see a struggle here compared to last week. I like the Patriots on the spread as well. The Jets plus 9.5. I think the Patriots can win by at least 10 points. I'm taking them there too. So with that, we wrap up our pick'ems. Now looking at our locks of the week, we start with the Miami Dolphins at the Buffalo Bills. The Dolphins are going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL. We've said it since the start of the season. The Bills have every advantage at every single position here. Don't overthink. The Bills defense will dominate. So will Josh Allen in the offense. Bills all day long. Next, Oakland Raiders to the Green Bay Packers. This Green Bay Packers team isn't the same squad that the Raiders just beat in the Chicago Bears. They're much better than that. They've got a much better quarterback. Even with Devontae Adams probably not playing, I think the Green Bay Packers at home win this game. It might be a little bit closer than some people expect, but still Green Bay all the way. Next, give me the San Francisco 49ers over the Washington Redskins. Washington Redskins may be the second, third worst team in the NFL. They face one of the best defenses here in the San Francisco 49ers. This one should be simple. The 49ers defense combined with that rushing offense of the 49ers get this victory. And then finally, the Patriots at the New York Jets. Even though Sam Darnold was victorious last week in his return, he's not making it too straight here. Even if the Patriots don't cover the spread, they sure as hell will win this game outright. I will take the Patriots and Tom Brady to beat the New York Jets. So with that, we wrap up our locks as well. And as always, let me know what you guys thought. Let me hear it in the comment section. Did you agree, disagree with these picks? Let me hear it along with any other questions you guys might have. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, subscribe. And if you guys enjoy these videos, continue to show your support not only on the channel, but now also on the All Day Pigskin official website. Check it out in the description, join the official newsletter, and potentially become a part of the Pigskin Club.